Summer running conditions are already underway even at early June. Regardless of where you live, you're probably experiencing some type of heat or humidity changes, and let's talk about how that affects your runs and what you're getting into out on the trails. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the personal trainer and running coach at Kathletics. Here at Kathletics, we're all about meeting you where you're at in your fitness so you can approach hybrid training in a sustainable way. Now, regardless of where you live, you're probably going to be seeing some changes in heat, humidity, and those things are going to affect your runs. Regardless if you're a new or experienced runner, you've probably noticed that there are some changes. Once you hit those summer months and the heat increases, you might see changes in your heart rate, your perceived rate of exertion, as well as your sweat rates. So often what happens is as the heat and humidity increases, we see changes and increases in your heart rate, and that could be even by 10 to 15 beats per minute. So often what we see is when you're programmed an easy run and you go out there, you're thinking you're hitting the same effort level, say it's supposed to be at an RPE 3, RPE 4, something like that, and the paces that you generally hit during that are suddenly a lot lower, the heart rate's a little bit higher, and we're just kind of sitting confused, like what's going on? Well, there does need to be an adaptation phase. So the adaptation phase for your heat acclimation is likely going to take, 7 to 14 days. And that's assuming that you're getting out there frequently and exposing yourself to that heat and humidity. Now, this isn't to say that you're suddenly going to make big changes and you're going to bring it right back down after those 14 days. It's more so that your RPE should start to feel a little bit more accurate, even if the heart rate is a little bit more increased, even if your body temperature is higher, and even if your sweat rate is higher. Now, everybody's sweat rate is completely individual. There are sweat tests that you can take so you can see how it changes in one type of condition versus the other. But regardless of your sweat rate, we want to make sure that we're hydrating regularly and fueling enough so you can support that water loss that you're experiencing through the sweat loss. Now, if you're somebody that's like, you know what, I don't enjoy running in the heat, I totally get that. Maybe you become an indoor running person, but we do want to make sure that we are getting some sort of adaptations, especially if you have a race on the docket, because you can't predict what those race day conditions are. It could be 90 degrees in September, and it could also be 40 degrees in September. So you really don't know what you're going to get, and we need to make sure that we are training appropriately in order to be prepared and feel confident going into that race day. Now, there are other ways that you can acclimate to heat, especially if you're somebody who is training for a race that's more in the winter months and you're like, I live in a cold place and then I'm going to be going directly into a hot race. If you're traveling for it, for example, there are ways that you can acclimate yourself by being on a sauna regimen or something like that that is acclimating you over time and getting you a little bit more prepared for those conditions. Overall, give yourself some grace and be patient with the process as you go through these heat adaptations, because regardless if your race is in 3 months or 6 months, you're going to be feeling good, feeling ready to tackle that race. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, be sure to like, subscribe, and then we'll see you in the next one.